Hello everyone, Dina here with my next episode on Floss Tube, and I just wanted to say hello to everyone and welcome back, and welcome for the first time if you're a new subscriber. Speaking of subscribers, I did a giveaway on my last video, and I am happy to report that of the 4 winners that I had, that 3 of them were in the United States. Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Hawaii, and the 4th one was in Spain. So it was my first opportunity to have an international winner and my first opportunity to fill out customs forms. But it went great, and hopefully she'll have her package soon. I was told by the post office it would take at least 10 days to get there, so she's going to let me know as soon as it arrives. But congrats to all of you that won, and know that I appreciate every one of you that watch. It's such a privilege to know that someone cares enough about your videos to subscribe so that they can check them out, see if they want to watch them when you put one up. So thank you for subscribing to my channel and letting me have the privilege of spending a little time with you. I don't have any people around my area close by that I can have a stitching date with. So my stitching buddies every day are those of you who make floss tube videos. So I appreciate each and every one of you that do that. And I'm grateful that there are some of you that like watching mine too. So I have some notes if you see me glance up so I don't forget anything, because I have a few things to wrap up that I haven't remembered to do in some of my videos. I wanted to first of all to clear up some very old business. When I was going back to the stitching retreat back in May of this year, I had asked for your help in picking the scissor fob that I was to give away, and in an exchange. And everyone was so kind to vote on the scissor fob, and I had promised to come back and let you know which one won and which one I had given the winner, of course, at the retreat. And I didn't want to show it till after I had been, in case one of the people at the retreat might be a channel watcher. So I had forgotten to go back and do that. I was so excited when I got back from the retreat and shared everything except that. So I'm going to insert a picture of the all the scissor fobs that I used for you to vote from, and just to let you know, the winner was letter C. So it's the middle one, and I'll insert that now. So I hope everybody's pleased with that. The lady who won it was very pleased with it, so that was a success. But I just wanted to come back and fulfill the promise that I made to show you which one had won the contest. So that's my old business I needed to finish up. And then I also wanted to correct an error from my last video. I had indicated to you all that I would put pictures at the end of a finishing idea for the Happy Everything pattern. I had made mine into a card holder, a display for my sister when I stitched it for her, and I had attached those pictures in the video as I was editing it, and some way along the way, somehow from editing to uploading, those pictures were dropped, and I'm not sure what I did. I'm sure it was an error on my part, but I just don't know what I did to make them fall. So I'm going to try to fix that now, and I'm going to try to insert them here. Okay, so if you'll notice, it was a just an idea to allow her to display her cards with the clear vinyl pockets, and she uses it all the time. She had to empty the cards out to take those pictures. I kind of wish she'd have left them in there so you could have seen them, but that might have been too personal. But I just think she's enjoying it, and I think that's wonderful. It was just a different way of finishing, and because of the shape of the top of the holder, I had to split the name, everything. I had to split the word. So I put a little southernism in it, and I don't know if you could have seen it, but there's an extra word in it. It says happy every little thing. So it's Lil, L-I-L. It's for that southern twang. And my sister loved it because she's from Tennessee and originally, and so she's southern as well, and lived in Georgia many years. So that's another piece of old business I needed to clear up for us as we move forward. So on to new business. I would like to share with you a bit of a haul because most of it is just so much fun, and it helps give shout outs to some of our floss tubers. And so I wanted to do that now, and then we'll go to whips. So if you don't want to see it, fast forward a little bit, but it's not very much, so I hope you'll hang in here with me. But the first thing I want to share with you is a couple of project bags that I got from Nell Cunningham. If you are not familiar with her, she is on her channel is Little Yellow House Crafts, and she has a Facebook group by that same name, Little Yellow House Crafts. And you can join the Facebook group, and you can order her bags. She puts them up as she makes them and gives all her Facebook members a notice that they're available. And you click on the one you want and say, me please. And if you're the first one there, you get the bag. She makes lots of sizes, and I ordered 2 different sizes. I wanted to see which one I like the best, and I have a couple of large projects, so I wanted a bigger bag for one of them. So I want to just take a moment and show these to you. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Look at these fabrics, so summery, so lovely. And they're they zip close so nothing will fall out, and they're fully lined with a coordinating fabric. And this is the smaller of the 2 bags that I got. Give you an idea. And then I got a larger one for my big project that I have on my scroll frame. Isn't this beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous fabric, and the inside is just as pretty. Black polka dots. Love it, love it, love it. Now these are beautiful if you're watching. Absolutely wonderful craftsmanship. I sew, and so you know, someone asked me, a friend of mine asked me, you know, when I showed these to her, well, you could do that. I could. Probably not as neat as this, probably nowhere near as nice as this. I sew, but this is a seamstress. This is beautiful. Now they're gorgeous. So I just wanted to share those with you and give her a plug. If you haven't already found her, please go and look at her project bags. I know that there's Teresa, the 3-owl stitcher, has started making project bags as well, and they're peekaboo, you know, with the vinyl in the front, which is a great idea. I haven't had a chance yet to buy any of her bags because she sold everything she made as she made it at her quilting retreat. So Tricia, let us know. We're all anxious for your bags. And with all of these wonderful opportunities out there, I don't need to break out the sewing machine and get busy doing this. I'll just wait for you guys to do some more. So thank you, Nell. Mine are beautiful, and I'm very happy with them. Then the other thing I wanted to show you that's a bit of a haul is I went to my Goodwill store. I've heard such wonderful stories from you guys about what you have found at your Goodwill store. Pardon my lean here. But I went, and they didn't have any cross stitch anything. No patterns, no books, no fabrics, nobody's stash, nothing. But I did buy some frames. This is a $2 frame. And I liked it because it's long and narrow. You know, I could do it either way, but I really liked that. And in the same idea, pardon the rattle because this is still in the bag to keep it from scratching, I got a bigger frame. Same idea. Let's see if you can see the gold in it. Looks a little antique-ish. Looks really cute. Anyway, it was all of $4. So these I can afford. And I thought what I might do with them is watch some of your videos, your tutorials. Pardon this crinkling. There we go. And I might try to frame something myself. And if I have a frame that's affordable like this, I don't mind trying it and, you know, try my hand at it and see how I do. So I've just got that in my stash for whenever I need it. Not sure when I will, but I couldn't pass them up. So I wanted to share that with you. And the last thing I have to show you is I got a Joann's coupon, like all of you did, I'm sure, for floss for 99 cents. I got this at Joann's with a coupon. It was on sale for $7.99. And you're supposed to be able to put a whole set of DMC in here. Well, you can if you don't have duplicates, but I have duplicates a lot. I have duplicates of Ecru and 310 and B5200 and white. So I couldn't get all of mine in one. And because I had the coupon Floss 4 for 99 cents, I went through my collection of DMC and I went and picked up every color that I didn't have. And I was able to get the container and the floss for a very reasonable price. So I was pretty excited about that. So now I have at least a complete set of DMC, at least one, and I'm thrilled to be able to say that again. Years ago, my husband for Christmas bought me every number that I did not have of DMC at the time, and I had a complete set at that time, but I've used a lot of it since then, and I haven't bought floss in the past few years unless it was something I needed for a piece I was working on right then. So I think it's wonderful now that I have a whole set, because now I can start anything in my stash whenever I want, and since I'm starting multiple things now instead of one thing at a time, that's become more important. So that's my wonderful finds and my haul for this time. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my whips. Let's get to those. We'll start out with the fact that almost every whip I have was in a SAL except one. So I'll start with that one first, and that is Beach Babies. And this is the picture just to remind you. And this is going to be for a friend. This is a gift that I'm stitching. There's no timeline, no deadline on it. I'm just working away at it. I did get a little work done on it though this month. In the past, I had started it, I got the sky all the way across. And the last time you saw it, I had the little fence post running down all the way across. So now you can see I've added in the majority of the first little beach baby and the hat on the second beach baby. And my thought here is to go ahead and, as I'm going down and across, to try to just do what makes sense to me so that I get the primary picture in focus and do the fill-in in the back in case I miss a stitch anywhere. I'd rather miss it in the grass or the ocean water instead of on one of the little girls. But I thought that was a decent progress for the month, so I was happy with that. So that's Beach Babies. The next two whips that I want to share with you, I worked on not only because they're whips, but because they were in SALs. So I worked on each of them a good portion of the month, one more than the other. But the first SAL that I participated in the month of June was a Vintage SAL, and it ran from June 1st originally to the 15th, and then it was extended to the 30th. So the whole idea there was to work on a piece that your pattern was published in the 1990s or before. And so both of my pieces were in the 1990s. One was 1994 and one was 1995. So the first one I'll share with you is Firefly Faeries. You've seen it before because I started it as part of a magical SAL in May. So I was really tickled that in June I was able to use it again for the Vintage SAL. That meant I get more time working on it. So here's what it was to look like when it's done. And I'm doing mine on a fabric hand dyed by Stephanie. And I'm going to insert a little clip here showing this to you because it's on my lap stand and I don't want to take it off. So I'll put that in here. Here's where I'm at on it today. You'll notice that I went up above her head, and I went ahead and put in the beads and the specialty stitches there, which are mainly with your specialty thread more than specialty stitches. Notice all the beading here in her little hat. Came on down, got her wand finished, started putting the beading in the dress here, and came on down the dress and have carried it almost to the end of the little section that I had made a working copy of this outfit. And as I start working on it in the coming month, I will continue to fill in the rest of the green dress here, and I'll move on over here and add in the fairy, the little red fairy, and work my way on down. But I had decided to go ahead and start back up at the top and put in all the beads, because I have this on my stand, and I can keep the tension loose enough when I need to store the beads without crushing them. So that is where my Firefly Fairies is at this point in time. Okay, now the next piece that I worked on for a SAL in June, for the Vintage SAL, was Sleeping Beauty. And this was a double SAL, as you know, because Kate and Judy and I are doing this as a stitch along, and I don't know if Judy has started hers yet. Judy, let us know how you're doing on this, if you've gotten it started or not. She wanted to join the SAL that Kate and I just kind of threw together. From we started ours on May 12th as part of Stitch Mania, and I'm not sure how much time even Kate's had to put on it, because I haven't seen her progress on it in a little while. But I was able to use mine then for this Vintage SAL as well, and I'll insert a picture here of where it was when I got started on it for this month. And this is where I am today. And I'll fold it so you can see it a little bit better. I've come across the top. In fact, I'll show you very quickly. I've gone across the top all the way across so I can see how it's going to fit on the fabric. And then I came back and started filling in from the top down. So I added in this time all of this greenery and flowers here. That's a whole section completed. And I came back and I finished this 1/1 skin in this arm, and as you can tell, it is very thin. It is very fine, and I think once I get the grid lines out of there, I don't think it'll look as transparent. I hope not anyway. But I'm not going to go back over it and do it 2/1. I think it would just be too bulky. But I think that's going to be very delicate when it's put together. And I've got started on her hair, which is the dark brown part here. So that's where I am on the Sleeping Beauty. Felt like I'd made decent progress on that for the month, and I'm happy with that. So the last whip that I've been working on that you've been seeing is a piece that's a needlework piece that I'm doing half stitch and or tent stitch, and it is called the Clown. And I'll insert a picture here on where it was originally this month. And now I will insert another picture, because on June 21st, there was a marathon SAL on Cross Stitch and Discuss on the Facebook group, just a marathon stitch for the day. And I had taken the Clown with me on a trip for my anniversary, and my husband was on a bike ride that day for the morning, and then I had some time that afternoon before we went to dinner, and then I had additional time that evening when we were back in our hotel relaxing after the day, that I could stitch for this marathon. So I stitched the Clown as my marathon piece, and I'll show you where I ended up the end of the day on it. And now I have turned that piece into a focus for a finish. Okay, you may be saying, Dina, wait, you forgot one, your Smokey Mountain Christmas. Well, I saved it for last because I didn't get much time to work on it this month because of the SALs that I was doing and trying to focus to finish the clown. I did touch it. I did work on it a couple of days, so I do have some progress to show with you, and I'll do that now. But the other thing I wanted to tell you is that I'm in a SAL starting today that is a Christmas in July SAL. And this is the piece that I've decided to focus on for the Christmas in July. So this is, I'll remind you quickly, this is what I'm working on. And this is where I am now. I had started the bears. I think the last time you saw it, I had started on the bears. And I think, if I recall, I had gotten part of this bear's face done. So I have now completed his body, and I have started the cloak, Santa's cloak. So here's my idea. You notice I've stopped up here. This is stopped. And the reason that I stopped there is that this bear and Santa Claus, they're the focus of the picture. And I'll use this one because it's smaller. But I'm really wanting to make sure that I get this puppy and all of this focal point in the forefront of the picture. And I felt like it was more important for me to just cross country and get this piece done. And then as I finish these sections, I can go up and fill in the background, because if you make a mistake or you're off at all, it's much easier, I think, to correct it up in here than it would be on the focus piece. So that's why I kind of stopped going down by column and started going cross country. I just felt like it was going to have a better ending for the piece. Anyway, so for at least the first week, this will be my focus for the Christmas in July SAL. And then I can decide at that point if I'm going to continue longer with it and extend that for me, or if I'm going to go ahead and go back and work on my other whips in a rotation like I have been. I think it's just going to depend on what mood I'm in, what I want to do, because I have another SAL. And one of the reasons I wanted to finish the clown so desperately, it was the closest thing to a finish that I had. And it would get one of my whips off the table, because on the 22nd of July, I have signed up to do another SAL called the Specialty Stitch SAL. I've been stitching for a very, very long time, actually about 34 years. But I have done very little specialty stitching, and I would like to correct that. I would like to learn a lot of new stitches. And so one of the ways I could do that was to pick a piece that would force you to do specialty stitches. So I picked a Chatelaine, and I showed it in a previous video as a haul. This is my Chatelaine by Martina Weber. It's Alpine Seasons Garden. Let me see if I can get the phone to focus a little better. It's having a hard time. And I will show it in my next video as a new start, hopefully, because on this 22nd of July is the beginning of that SAL, and I want to be ready to start that new piece as a new start for that SAL, and then be able to have it in my whip rotation. So I think that that'll be important. I did want to mention, I told you I participated in the SAL at the Marathon SAL on the 21st of June while we were traveling. Well, we took a small trip for our wedding anniversary, and many of you have seen, if not all of you, have seen the piece that I did for my husband for our 40th wedding anniversary, and it's called The Wedding, Bride and Groom. And I'll put a picture in here to remind you of what it looks like. And several people have asked me what was my husband's reaction, so I wanted to share that with you for a moment, if you'll give me a moment to just talk personally with you. my husband saw the picture. I had him open it before we left for our trip because I didn't want to have to carry it in the car anywhere. It was too big. I was afraid it'd get hurt and that sort of thing. So it was easier just to have him open it a day ahead of time and have him leave it here. So that's what I did, and he was quiet for a moment. He read everything because it just has our names and our date of our marriage. And then he just kind of looked at it for a moment and he said, wow. He said, this is beautiful. He said, this is for me? And I said, yes, it commemorates our wedding. So we talked about it, and I explained to him that it took me 4 months to do, about 360 hours. So it's about a month per 10 years of marriage. But that it was something that I wanted to have for us to show the longevity of our marriage and the commitment that we had made to each other. And I guess that I felt like after 40 years, we're going to make it. Anyway, he thought that was good. He was relieved to hear that. But what was really most interesting to me is that when we were down at the beach, we went to Jekyll Island for just a 2 or 3 day trip. When we were there, we went out to lunch one day, actually on our anniversary. We went to lunch at a wonderful little Mexican restaurant over in St. Simons, Georgia, not far from where we were. And we were sitting out under the patio, and we were just sitting in the breeze and talking, and had finished our lunch. And he asked me to tell him about the picture, about how I made it, he asked some interesting questions. You know, what was the hardest thing to do in the picture? And I told him about the fact that it had so much white, and that white is sort of an unforgiving color, that if you stitch it unevenly, if one leg is slightly longer than another on the X, it's going to show. If anything's cattywampus, it's going to show. It's kind of like black, it really shows up your workmanship. And so much of that picture is white dress. That was one of the most difficult things, was powering through that, but making sure that those stitches were uniform. And the other thing that was kind of interesting, not difficult, but just different, is I'm used to a lot of back stitching to help highlight a picture and kind of bring it up off the fabric. I say when you highlight it, it sort of comes to life, or it pops. This has very little back stitching in it. So if you don't like back stitching, this is a great pattern for you. There's back stitching around the faces and hands, and then there's back stitching around the bouquet that the bride is carrying. But other than the lettering that you do, there's no more back stitching. It's all done with shades. It's all done with various shades of white, gray, ecru, different colors that will make those folds and beautiful shadowing around the flowers and the dress and that sort of thing. So it was interesting because he assumed that doing the beading would be the hardest part, and so I assured him it's not hard, it's just a little time consuming, but it wasn't hard to do. I think beading is just something you just have to be patient with and take your time, and it looks beautiful when you're done. So it just sort of made me feel good that he cared enough to ask about the construction of the piece, and what took the most time, and what was the most difficult, and what were some new techniques, if anything, that I had learned. And of course, you all know, if you've watched my channel, there were several firsts in this picture. It was my first 1/1 skin, and it was my first time ever doing a color conversion, because I converted the hair color for the bride and groom to be brown to match my husband and I. Of course, he loved it that his hair was brown in the picture because it's gray now. But he thought that was great that I had put it brown. But it's a picture of us getting married, so it is the color that he had. So I think it was successful as far as a gift. I think he truly appreciated the meaning behind it, and he's going to hang it in our bedroom above our bed. So I think that will be a wonderful piece for us to look back on. So while we were on our vacation, one of the things that we were lucky enough to participate in is that it was the height of the turtle season. So the turtles will come up on shore and build their nest and lay their eggs, and then the little hatchlings will crawl out and go back into the ocean. So I've got a couple of pictures for you here that show one of the nests that have been marked. They put a grid over them, like a metal grid, just to help protect the nest, and they put a pole up there with a number on it to so they can take a record of how many nests they have. And this year they were having a bumper crop of nests because they had double what was considered a good year for them. So there were nests everywhere up and down the beach. But I'll put in a picture here to show you what one of them looks like, although you can't really tell a whole lot from it. It's underneath. Okay, well, that was part of our trip, and it was a wonderful anniversary trip. So thanks for letting me share that with you. And I hope that you could live a little vicariously through me at the beach as we were there. Some of you take wonderful trips. I'd love to hear about them. I love hearing about your family when you talk about your family on FlossTube. So the last thing I have for you really would be just the future plans for July. I'll summarize those again. The Smokey Mountain Christmas I'm going to be working on as a focus for the Christmas in July SAL. And then I'll be starting my Chatelaine on July 22nd as part of the Specialty Stitches SAL. And the rest of my whips I'll have to fold in as I can throughout the month of July. So that'll be what I'm up to, and in the meantime I will be watching all of you. And before I go, I would like to thank someone. I would like to thank Vanna, the Twisted Stitcher, for what she did, the sweetest shout out for me on her latest video that I just watched today. I had started noticing I was getting a lot of new subscribers. I mean, a lot of new subscribers. And I thought, what has happened? And then one of them wrote in a comment on my video that Vanna sent her to my channel. So I went and found your video, Vanna, because I'm a little behind. I'm about a week behind watching FlossTube. And I went and watched it today, and I heard your sweet comments and your support of me as a FlossTuber. So put a comment on your latest video. So go back and read it if you haven't already, and know that I would be honored to be your friend. And I love your videos. I love your tutorials. You are such a great finisher, and I want to learn to make my stuff look as good as yours. So that would be awesome to take some of your techniques. I can't wait to do a flat fold, and I love some of the ornament finishes you've done. I'm going to be copying those, and I may need to find your email somehow so I can ask you questions. Anyway, thank you again for the shout out. I appreciate it so much. Very kind of you. Everyone, if you haven't already found Vanna, you need to go find Vanna the Twisted Stitcher and check out her channel. So if I knew how to do a link, Vanna, I would link it below, but that's something I haven't learned how to do yet, so I've got to make that a priority. Everyone, please have a wonderful month of July. A happy stitching to each and every one of you, and have a very safe 4th of July. Happy stitching. Bye.